Welcome to the first episode of the Iconic Confessions Show, the show where we bring in a local icon each episode to discover more about their lives, careers, and experiences. Today on the show, we have Senator Fatima Payman. You're not only the first Hijabi politician, but also currently the youngest parliamentarian. Thank you so much for coming onto the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, my Sarah. It's an absolute honour.
No, thank you. You are an amazing guest to have on the show. You are an inspiration to so many people, and you're known for the passion that you have for breaking down barriers for women and for youths and for striving for better representation in Parliament. So I have to ask, what inspired you to get involved in politics?
Oh, there are so many things, but I think representation, it was the main drive that brought me into politics. You can't be what you can't see is a famous saying, and it was important for me to be involved in the spaces where I wanted to see change. You can't sit on the sidelines and expect change to happen. So politics was that avenue, especially through Young Labor, which is the youth wing of the Labor Party here in WA, that embraced me and gave me a place where I felt seen, I felt heard, I felt like my opinions mattered. And when I was contributing to whether it was motions in Young Labor meetings or speaking at state conference, it felt like I was making a difference and opening the door to many people who look like me or have had similar experiences. Because growing up in a Western society with a hijab on your head or with different faith values or cultural values, you can sometimes feel very alienated and different, and people can look at you differently. And it always reminds me of that one turning point in my life where I was at a forum or you can say it was a conference, and this elderly lady came up to me and in a very condescending, slow tone was like, "How do you fit in all this?" And I just gave her like the most puzzled look. Like, she probably assumed that I couldn't speak English, or maybe I was a bystander or somebody who's lost their way and just found themselves in this conference. So to sort of break down barriers for other women, for other young people, to see themselves represented, but also to have the drive and the ambition to put their hand up and say, you know what, this is a space where I can thrive and contribute.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. And you started your field into politics quite at an early age. So how has it been at such a young age to enter this field?
Look, I'm not going to lie, it's been challenging at times. You get imposter syndrome where I feel like I don't have the wealth of experience and life experience as all my other colleagues. And sometimes you feel like people don't really take you seriously. But the bonus of that has been that I bring a different perspective to the table. My colleagues value my input because I represent a cohort of society that are often underrepresented, and young people with different layers of identity are often, overlooked and not considered when it comes to shaping policies. So it has been a fruitful journey. I'm blessed to have an incredible team of young, driven, progressive people who come from all walks of life and have different ambitions and passions that come together. And so it's definitely been a fruitful and awesome experience so far.
Yeah, and you mentioned that it was challenging, and I'm sure that you still do face challenges. So what sort of challenges do you face and how do you overcome them?
So some of the challenges would be, coming from WA, you've got to travel the 4.5 hour flight to Canberra and back. So being away from home has been quite challenging. Different time zones and adjusting your body physically, trying to adjust to the different time zones and longer hours in Canberra, especially during estimates where you start briefings at 8 a.m. and you go all the way till 11 p.m. and that's one day. And then you have 5 days of the same day. So, but aside from that, I think there are times as a young, ambitious person, I want change to happen really quickly. And, we've got to be realistic with timeframes and timelines of policies and, communicating that to our communities and the various stakeholders and organizations that I meet with. because it's not easy saying no, or it's not always easy turning requests down that you're not able to help you're not able to help and alleviate issues, but you do your best where you can to connect and link people up. But also I use opportunities in the chamber to raise concerns and shed light on issues that may often go unseen and unheard. And it is definitely utilising every single moment, whether it's in Canberra or in Perth, to advocate for WA, to advocate for women and young people and multicultural communities.
Yeah, no, that's lovely. On a different aspect, walk us through what a day in the life looks like for you.
Oh, so would you say a day in the life here in Perth, or, I can do both. So a day in the life in Perth would be, I would start my day off either here in the office, have a few stakeholder meetings, and then go and have some site visits or stakeholder engagement outside of the office. I also try to dedicate time for my team. So we've got office meetings and making sure that we're all on the same page, whether it's strategizing about what the next few months are going to look like, doing a lot of media recordings. So I've got, like I said, a vibrant young team, and they love TikTok. They love that content. So it's great to have that element here in Perth. And then there are often after hours events, like things to do with schools or community events that I would attend. But a day in my life in Canberra looks quite hectic, because usually I'd start by coming into Parliament House at around 7 o'clock in the morning. I would have a look through my calendar for what the day holds, and then it's just committee meetings after the Senate has begun with morning prayers and acknowledgement of country. And then the day just goes by so fast with question time. We've got senators' statements where senators have the opportunity to talk about something of significance, a matter of significance to them, debating on bills. And sometimes that can go until very late at night. And the latest we've sat from memory has been 4:30 in the morning. Oh. So, doing a full shift right there.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And in your everyday role as a senator, what has been the best experience for you so far?
Wow. In my role as a senator, I guess meeting young people who now feel more confident and comfortable talking to a politician, and realize that it's not as intimidating as they thought. Because yes, politicians can come across as quite very straightforward, very monotone. And then they see me and I'm like, hey, I'm just like you. I still watch Netflix during my downtime. And I still like Froyo and all the other cool stuff that young people get to enjoy. But I also understand the pressures of having to pay off HECS debt, trying to find a house to buy, secure employment. Like before I became a senator, I was working at a pizza shop and part-time at a pharmacy as a pharmacy assistant. And, you've got to try to make ends meet, and the current cost of living pressures are impacting everyone, but in particular young people. So it's about listening to them. And so when I get any opportunity to talk to young people, like, it just fills my heart with so much happiness to see that they see themselves reflected in me, but also that they aspire to be greater and greater than me, and achieve greater things than I have, because the world's their oyster once they develop that mindset of change can happen. You just, need to put in the hard work and, put yourself out there.
Yeah, well, no, it's beautiful. But on the flip side, I also want to ask, what's the worst experience you've had? And no sugarcoating, something that no one would really generally expect.
Yep. It's missing family milestones. I on 12th of March 2018 was when my father passed away, and I remember last year I was in Canberra when the whole family were able to get together to commemorate my father. And this year I was away when, you know, my little nephew celebrated his birthday, his third birthday, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's missing those little family moments that mean so much. And, you know, being recently married, I think there's going to be a few other milestones that one day I'll have to miss with my own children one day. So it's you know, it is part of the job. And when you commit to serve your country, your state and your constituents, these are just some of the sacrifices you got to make.
Yeah, and I'm sure with, you know, all the hardships that you faced and endured, you'd have like a collection of advices to give out to people who maybe want to be in your position one day, or just to any young people. So would you like to share a piece of advice to someone, maybe someone aspiring to be a future politician?
Perseverance and discipline. Sometimes things won't go your way, and sometimes it would feel like you've hit a dead end, but it's about persistence and perseverance. It's about keep chipping away at whatever issue that you're passionate about and you feel like you're not making any progress. It's about finding new ways. It's about creating opportunities, but also thinking outside of the box, and ensuring that that drive and that passion never dies away, because politics isn't the end game. Like, becoming a politician is never end all be all. It's about the journey. It's about how you get there. It's about what you do with that opportunity, because I can't guarantee that I'll be here after 2028. You know, that's when my term ends. So I spend every single day making the most of every single day, so that I can leave a legacy behind where other young people can look up and say, you know what, if she could do it, so can I. And be able to go out there and put themselves out there. Because if you don't take every opportunity that comes your way, and you don't maintain that discipline to keep focused on what's at hand and what your purpose is, then life really slips away, because time is of essence. You know, time will fly by if you're scrolling TikTok, or if you're working on a policy area that you are passionate about. So it's really your choice of how you want to spend your time. But my biggest advice would be for young people to never give up when you've sort of found your purpose and understood what you're passionate about and what you want to see change in.
Yeah, that's some really authentic advice. Thank you for that. We're on our last part of the show, which is called Confess a Secret. So this box has pieces of paper that contains questions, and you have to truthfully answer the question.
Okay. But just before you do that, I do want to confess another secret just on the side.
Okay.
I recently I ditched my heels in Parliament House and I wore Kayanos.
Yeah. How did that
and
go?
I must say, it was the best thing ever. It felt like I was walking on clouds. My feet were very thankful of me. So just saying, good. I mean, I was an obsessed person with heels, but hey, Kayanos are the thing now.
Yeah, wow. And it's good for like long term.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Gosh, your feet will definitely thank you.
Yeah. Okay, well, moving on to the
All
box.
right. I'm so nervous.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. Your favorite politician from the Libs and Nats. Oh, okay. Well, I would have to say it's Ross Cadell, who's a fellow senator and so passionate about the regions that he represents. I must say that he has shown so much collegiality and friendliness during our committee deliberations and committee hearings. And he's definitely a good person to have a good laugh with. You know, he doesn't take himself too seriously. And where we must differ in our views, we have our differences and we disagree. But other times it's really great to have somebody who is easygoing, is passionate about serving his constituents just the way I am. But also we just get along. So, yeah, it makes life a little bit bearable.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's good. Well, thank you for confessing that secret. And thank you overall for all the support that you give to anyone that needs it. You are such a big source of motivation for so many young people. Well, it's time to wrap up this episode. I'm sure the audience has learned a lot about you and about politics in general. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Maisa. I've had an absolute blast.
Thank you.